Hello everybody and welcome back to the funniest tweets today. Oh, baby. We're going to talk about the Australian Grand Prix, which is a weird thing to be like so hyped up for. Like, oh my goodness me, what a great race we had. No, the race was pretty shocking, but we got a change, something new for Formula One that happened. Your tweets were amazing as always, so let's dive into them right now. Verstappen DNF. Yes, this segment is real. Do not refresh your screens. Max Verstappen DNF'd on lap 3, which, I'm not going to lie, woke me up quite aggressively. I was ready for an absolute barnstormer between McLaren and Ferrari. It looked so close between them in the early stages. And then Carlos Sainz decided to not have an appendix. So let's start with @L_Rushy. OMG, a Max DNF. I couldn't believe it. I think we all just thought he was inevitable. We've spoken a lot, haven't we, about can he win every race? He can't win every race. And apparently that is the case. Already we have had a Max Verstappen non-win. But not just that. There are some strange little aligning things that are going on with Max Verstappen having problems. So let me talk you through the first one. The first one is that in the last 2 seasons, the Japanese Grand Prix being the next race, Max Verstappen has a stinker. So perhaps we found the cure there. But also, George Russell DNFing on the last lap, Max Verstappen, it's early, Max Verstappen having issues means a Carlos Sainz win. Bit of an odd coincidence. @JohnDale1, as a British F1 fan right now. Yeah, lots of complaining, of course, from European fans. And look, I've soaked it up, whatever, not going to complain. Everybody else has it much harder than Europeans for start times. But my goodness me, you know, I don't know how to feel. That's the problem, because I was so excited for an absolute banger. And what we saw is that just because Max Verstappen didn't exist in that race does not equate to an absolute worldie. The fight for P2 gang decided, you know what? I'm not actually going to get in DRS. We're not going to have any wheel-to-wheel battling. I was so ready for a Sainz versus Leclerc battle for the win. And I'm also starting to process that if Charles Leclerc had won the race, he'd be leading the World Championship. Don't want to talk about that anymore. But instead, Carlos just put on his chef's hat and cooked a masterclass of a meal. @Azura Light, me after seeing Max having a problem with his car. Now, I don't wish any ill will on Max Verstappen or his races or whatnot, but of course a lot of us fans wonder what would it have been like without Max Verstappen leading a race. Well, we saw that. It was boring. There was a strategy race. There were still things to obviously keep intrigued about. We didn't actually see much wheel-to-wheel action, and that's where a lot of people will jump to saying it wasn't a great race. But what I will say, and this might be controversial, is that I think we would have had a better race had Max Verstappen still been in it. Now, I'm not saying I think that Max still would have won had he not had problems, but what I am saying is we might have actually had a bit more wheel-to-wheel action at the front. So Max not being there took that away from us. @Ashwin_13. So this backs up what I was just saying about Carlos taking advantage of whenever Max has a problem. Verstappen has an inconvenience. Carlos Sainz. Honestly, how does that man not have a seat for next year right now? If he ends up in that green wheelie bin of a Stake F1 team car, it's going to be so unfair on him. Mercedes, just sort him out. I was of the opinion, look, he needs to bed in his roots, go to Stake for a year and then hope Audi are okay. No, screw that. Go to Mercedes, which, I mean, they're not looking, well, they're looking better than Stake, but they're not looking great, are they? But probably better than what Stake will be next year. @Shift Happens F1, Rebel Mechanical Failure, F1 fans. And look, we were baited. You know, we were all so confident we were going to get a worldie. We didn't, unfortunately. @The Milcurian, marked safe from Max domination today. But instead, we were asking the question, could Carlos Sainz's dominance bore F1 fans? No, Ferrari had a 1-2. I am feeling good today. Tiny bit of, oh my God, it wasn't Charles that won. But so happy for Carlos. When we spent that hour with him last year, that I'm sure you would have seen the podcast, it went really big. I had a full appreciation of not just him as a driver, but him as a person. And yeah, I fell in love with Carlos a little bit that day. He's a great man. Thoros_Max in his hotel by lap 30. Oh my goodness me. I mean, look, Max will be fine. I am very convinced that the Japanese Grand Prix in 2 weeks' time is going to be won by him by 2 laps. The revenge tour will start again. What was he on? 10 wins in a row? Then Carlos has taken it away from him. Maybe another 10 is on the way, but no! We have hope. Ferrari are right behind Red Bull in the Constructors. The top 3 are separated by 5 points in the Drivers' Championship. Let's get the delusion train fully leaving the station now. Azteca lad. F1 fans have the Max DNFs and there are still no battles for the win. Yep. No, I told you. We got all very confident and it didn't work out. Carlos appendix. So, of course, a lot of people are now talking about perhaps all the other F1 drivers are now queuing up to have their appendix removed. At Mandwale dropping some power. I mean, this is a wild little meme we've got going on here. But the gist of it is you remove your appendix and you're unbelievable. I genuinely, we need to put some respect on Carlos's name after this Grand Prix. Not only did he drive incredibly well, but 2 weeks ago he was hobbling back into the paddock and he's been resting up, which means he hasn't been working out probably as much, probably wasn't in 100% peak condition. But what he did was deliver an absolutely sensational performance. Not only did he win, but he won convincingly. I'm pretty sure he had maybe had some time in the bank at the end, although he was saying his tyres were running out a little bit. But either way, he managed the race beautifully. He was the one that delivered in qualifying, and that pains me to say it. The one time Charles Leclerc doesn't get on the front row, Max Verstappen has a problem. But Carlos saw the opportunity and took it. Without an appendix. At Simtana, Max, every time he is on a long streak, I fear no man, but that thing, especially with no appendix, it scares Max. At Forza Francesca, Carlos without an appendix. I mean, I'm trying to think if there's anything that you can say that would be like, maybe it did help. Maybe not having an appendix, or maybe the whole process, perhaps seeing Ollie Behrman in his seat, he's visualised not being at Ferrari next year and gone, no. Because, oh God, I'm so pained as well. I'm sure a lot of you watched the podcast. I was going to biggest good surprise Carlos Sainz. I literally wrote it in the sheet and then went, no, he's probably going to be a little bit off the pace because you've got to give him some time to get better. And he won the blooming thing. At Alex Humphrey _33. This is probably the best non-appendix meme. This is great. Carlos Sainz without an appendix, the entire F1 grid. Let's see. Will Carlos Sainz now win the World Championship? Maybe. Let's keep the hopes high that we could get a fight. Maybe. In 2024 Formula 1, when we all thought everything was lost, we're back. Kind of. Sauber shocker. I thought I'd include a little segment because apparently Sauber can't do pit stops anymore. Almost every stop they have, and I'm pretty sure F1 rolled a replay of Stake F1 Team Kick Sauber doing a good pit stop, and they showed it in the broadcast because it was such a rare occasion. At Cell_Stone, Valtteri when there's a problem with his tyres in the pits. I mean, what are they doing? Apparently there's a problem with cross-threading the nuts or whatever, but apparently they might have still done that today. They're a sham. They kind of gave us this idea of, they're going to be so good this year, or not, at least, or they're going to be a surprise, or... No, they're the laughing stock. They're last. I mean, that and Alpine, it's a fight between those two. They are the dustbin meme. At Cupcakey, can someone please help Stake F1 Team with their pit stops? They need the manual. They need an F1 pit stops for dummies. Surely they've not changed their entire pit crew / mechanics for this year. The car looks great, it's very vibrant, but the problem is they then stand out even more in the pits when they're having bad stops. Albon DRS train. So Albon stops for the 2024 season be like, box Bottas without crossing, threading the nut, or draw 25. But at least Bottas is having a great time. That ad that he did was simply sensational. I am loving Valtteri Bottas in his fun era. It is the best. Honourable mentions. So I'm going to include this next meme because it is the same template as the one we just finished, but it actually made me laugh quite a lot. At DFALS TBD, Singapore all over again, overtake on the last lap without crashing, or draw the whole deck. And George Russell. I feel really bad actually about this because I've seen the replay, and we'll get into this a little bit more in the Full Race podcast, but George Russell didn't really do much wrong because you can see on the telemetry, which, to be fair, the graphics are a little bit, you can... They're probably not as in sync as they suggest. But Alonso did slam on the brakes going into that fast right-hander. Russell obviously closes up a lot, not expecting that. Loses the front end and flies into the wall. Alonso definitely played a part. And as of recording right now, we don't know if we've got a penalty or not. But I don't think Alonso is as in the clear as maybe a lot of people think after seeing Russell in the wall and immediately assuming he's lost it on the last lap. There's a lot more that happened with that. At Cybercoda NHA. Oh, Leclerc trying to understand Gunter post-race. I did not have Gunter Steiner doing post-race interviews on my 2024 bingo card. Did I enjoy it? Yeah, I think I did. Bit sad that he's not, doing things in Formula One. Well, in terms of actually making a team work, but I don't know. It was his first time doing it. He's going to get better. But yeah, very odd to see that. At back from 1955, Checo thinking he was going to pull away from Fernando. I love it. Fernando gets overtaken by Checo very easily, and we're thinking, well, Checo's going to drive off into the distance. But then Fernando held on to that DRS for dear life. He, probably big brain thinking, thought, well, I'll just try with the 4 DRS zones around Melbourne to just hang on to the Red Bull. And he did. So that was great. The Russell incident, I'm sure we'll have a huge debate. At Khalid Qureshi, Alonso and Perez today. I love the Mr. Bean movie and just Mr. Bean in general, as a lot of you I'm sure will know. But this is actually so apt of like how it worked out. But yeah, Alonso, he's a smart cookie, that one. At Brovo010, how I feel after hearing the Italian national anthem. It's just such good vibes, isn't it? It's a good feeling. A Ferrari 1-2. This is what dreams are made of. It's great for Formula One. I know Max DNF, it's a shame because I would have been interested to see how many seconds he would have won the Australian Grand Prix by. But it's great for Formula One that it's a Ferrari 1-2, and perhaps it'll inject a little bit of life into this season. Maybe. At Riyad Faris, Leclerc during the post-race interview with Gunter, yeah, there was a difficulty in understanding, and maybe even just the volume of Gunter kind of projecting his voice for the person he's interviewing. But yeah, there's another one actually. Joe Goat 6p, me seeing Gunter again. It was lovely. It was lovely to see old Gunter, not just in a vineyard in Drive to Survive, but actually at the track. He couldn't say no to the paycheck. He's far too good television. At _Brink, a Verstappen and Hamilton 1-2 fight going on down under. It's funny, it's seeing that snapshot of Verstappen and Hamilton both out. You did wonder, are we in 3 years ago right now? But no, they didn't do anything to each other. Completely different incidents. So proud of them. At Ahmed _Backbar, Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen out of the race. Where did I see this before? Is this Monza 2021? Or, to be fair, a lot of races from 2021 where they came together. At Ranny Dick, George Russell. Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I got here. Yeah, it was. You saw the image, didn't you, of him just like there, and you thought, geez, he's had a massive impact. Where, of course, Albon's had that crash this year and last year. And your first thoughts are, I hope George is okay. Then you saw the replay, and actually it was quite a slowish incident compared to some that we see. And then the wheel obviously buckling under made it look a lot worse as a post-crash picture. But thankfully, obviously, George was okay. And yeah, It was quite the scene. Right, it is now time for Tommy's Tasty Tweets, sponsored by EA and F124. Who has won a game that's not been released yet, but the funniest tweet of today?
The funniest tweet of today is from Jade, and it's this Gunther Steiner in his interview era. And what a Photoshop skills on point. And what a surprise to see Gunther doing the interviews. I did not see that coming.
No, I loved it. I loved the meme. So well done, Jade. You have won a copy of F124 when it releases. And if you want to be in with a chance, then use hashtag P1. And you may well be featured in the Japanese Grand Prix. Thank you, Tommy. See you soon. Lots of love.
Bye.
Right, that is it. Thank you so much for watching the funniest tweets to the Australian Grand Prix. We got a different winner. Carlos Sainz turning up once again as soon as Max has problems. And yeah, maybe, just maybe, we have a fight on our hands for the World Championship. Maybe. We'll see. But thank you so much for getting involved in this series as always. And we'll see you very soon for another piece of content. Lots of love. Bye. Bye.